I'm getting a little stinky feet and juicy fruit.
So juicy fruit for sure. And if you're a Scotch fan that's watching this today for the first time,
don't be offended.
Aaron's stinky feet is different than our stinky feet.
Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
And welcome to our very first Wildcard Wednesday video.
What?
These will typically be us, just like on our first sip videos that you see on Monday, drawing a random sample, except instead of it being a bourbon or a rye, it is going to be a worldwide sipping spirit. So we're not going to be sure where it comes from. It could be all kinds of stuff. The pool is flush with some crazy things, including rums, scotches, Irish, Welsh, ice. We're gonna have some Icelandic stuff in there.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna have a lot of stuff going on.
It's gonna be a party, y'all.
Yeah. But to start this off right off the bat, today isn't going to be blind. Typically we do sip blind over here, but today we want to give a shout out to the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. The Scotch Malt Whisky Society is apparently the biggest whiskey society in the world, started back in the year that I was born, and I've been very interested in their products for a long time, mainly because I know that what you get from them is given to you at cask strength, no chill filtering, nothing like that, unadulterated whiskey straight from the barrel. And they handpick the barrels that they get their hands on. And they have a really awesome way of letting you, if you're like us and not super familiar with Scotch, they have these flavor profiles that you can kind of tap into and pick from.
You can shop by flavor profile.
Right, rather than having to know all the details of what's in front of you. They are a worldwide organization and they have their annual gathering coming up this month.
Yes, we'll go ahead and put all the details for that in the video description below. Be sure to check it out.
Yep, full disclosure, they did send us this bottle, so we want to be clear about that, but we don't have to give it a favorable review or a favorable review even.
Nor that.
But this is what we picked out of the catalog. One of the cool things is for the US members is that you can pick between like 20 different barrels, give or take, each month. And then
wow. So they change each month?
They do. And I got to be honest, we pay more for a Netflix annual subscription than we do to be a member of this society. So it's a pretty good deal to get access to Scotch that is cask strength, unadulterated. It's kind of hard to beat. It's why they've been on my radar for a long time, and we are getting more into international whiskeys here on this channel.
Yep. So
get ready to see content coming out for that. But let's go ahead and get into this one.
Okay.
It is an 18-year Highland single malt.
Wow.
And the cask is a first fill ex-bourbon barrel. So it housed bourbon once upon a time, and then it was sent over to Scotland for some aging.
Interesting.
And this was the first thing that went into it for 18 years. So this is the Society cask number 19.65.
It's not even legal.
50s nostalgia. They have these little color-coded things that kind of help you. That helps with the flavor profile and the shopping as well. But this is, can we just talk about how beautiful this bottle is? Like, it's kind of this green tint. They have an awesome logo. Great branding.
Can you stop looking at it and show it to the camera?
Sorry. I want to look at it. I probably should show you, but I really like the way it looks. So let's get right into this, the way we review whiskey, straight off the bat.
Okay. I'm getting a little stinky feet and juicy fruit.
So juicy fruit for sure. And if you're a Scotch fan that's watching this today for the first time,
don't be offended.
Aaron's stinky feet is different than our stinky feet.
It's not a bad thing.
It's actually an endearing thing for her, and I think to the best of my abilities to decode her tasting notes over here on this channel is that it has something to do with the oak and the char and a little bit of like funkiness that comes from that in a good way though, in like a really pleasant way. For me, I'm definitely on the juicy fruit train that you're on, and to me I'm also getting a lot of honey and malt on this. I'm getting a boatload of honey. Like I'm swimming in pools of honey like Scrooge McDuck swims in money. Hey, that rhymes.
Oh.
All right, let's get right into this. I cannot wait.
Okay. Wow. I'm sorry. It took me back. I was not. It smelled a little bit light, like it would taste lighter.
Oh, interesting.
But it came in with a vengeance, but not too bad. It just made its presence known. I'm going to need a second first sip.
Yeah, that was our first sip of the day.
Yeah.
So we are going to have to acclimate to it. And to be fair, we are used to lower ABV Scotch because this one is, you actually have the bottle over there. What's the ABV on this?
It is.
I think it's like 57.5.
Yep, 57.5.
57.5.
Exactly.
So we're up around 115 proof, which is kind of our sweet spot for American sipping spirits.
It's true.
But when it comes to Scotch and Irish, we are used to lower proof points on those.
Yep.
And this is coming through with a lot of flavor. So we definitely have to go in for a second first sip as we're now acclimated.
Okay, that helped. No, I'm like, it's not as strong. I mean, it is still lots of flavor, but it wasn't as like, whoa, as it was the first time.
That first sip, I got a lot of spice, mid-back palate, seemingly like what I would call like a barrel spice or something like that, but I've heard of like a little bit of malty spice too. But I'm definitely getting the malt in there.
Is that what I would say was Band-Aid flavor?
That's more peat.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm getting a very slight Band-Aid flavor.
Yeah.
Which also, again, not offensive. Don't be offended. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just letting you know what it reminds me of.
Yeah. To me, I get the honey. It's very malt forward, and it's really nice in that way. And it's a real concentrated experience right up on the mid and front palate.
I'm getting a lot in the back, too.
Yeah.
Now.
And it's creamy. That's what I like, I think, the most about it. Second sip, to me, the creamy mouthfeel really stood out. I want to go in for another sip to check on the finish a little bit, because that second one was not quite on the finish for me.
It is for me. I can still feel it.
Okay.
Let's go again, though.
Let it go.
Okay. Yeah, not a lot changes the third sip. It just comes into more balance. And I'm getting the spice and like the power on the back. Like afterwards, it really easy, like on its way down, and then I'm feeling like warmth kind of in the back of my throat.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of honey. I would like to pretend that if this were blind, I could tell that this was a Scotch that was in a first fill bourbon barrel, because it has some of those bourbon influential notes in it.
I don't think I could tell.
There's a little bit of that caramel vanilla oak, with the oak being the predominant carryover, and then just a lot more honey is the predominant thing I'm getting. A little bit of smokiness.
I think the honey for me takes a back seat on the flavor. I get it more on the smell, but it's there. It just is a little less. I think it's just more powerful with the spice.
Right.
For me.
We're going to add some water to this.
Okay.
Not something we typically do with our American whiskeys, but we're going to put a couple of drops in each of these pours, and maybe we will start doing this with our American whiskeys. But I'm very curious to see how water, just a couple drops, might change this pour. That's a big thing in the world of international whiskeys. Let's get it back on the nose.
All right. So this didn't change a ton for me on the nose, and I don't know if it was the water or if it's just because I've sipped it now, but I'm getting less stinky feet and more just like juicy fruit. So that may just be because I've sipped it, and normally after I sip something, the nose opens up a little bit more for me.
Yeah, as we sip more, the nose tends to open up more, and I think adding the water, to me, what it did was the oak kind of came into balance. The heavy honey note I was getting kind of turned into more of like a floral honeysuckle note.
And then honeysuckle.
I had just images of like fruit and cantaloupes and all kinds of like melony, fruity type of stuff coming into my mind.
Sounds delicious.
But it's not like really bright fruit forward like some lower proof scotches can be sometimes. There is some savoriness in there as well, and maybe that's just that little thread of smokiness running through it that we get on, when we've had Highland scotches. I get that little thread of smokiness, not like a full-blown peat, but it's really nice. Let's get it back on the palate.
So the spice has tamed down.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm getting like more the flavor in like the front to mid palate, and the spice.
Interesting.
That was like that hug that I was getting at the end is like gone.
This has flipped for me, for you, like what you're getting is the opposite for me. So I was kind of getting the opposite for you before water. Now I'm getting more on the back palate. I'm getting more of that smokiness. That smokiness is coming out way more on the finish, and it's just hanging around on the back of my tongue. It's very, very nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. This is very interesting because we don't typically add water to our American whiskey. Typically, I'm drinking bourbon, and I've very rarely found a bourbon that I like better with water compared to without.
Yeah.
But just 2 drops in this thing really opened it up for me.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
I like it both ways.
Yeah. Let's have another sip.
That's what she said.
Let's have another sip.
Yeah. Like it.
Oh, yeah. That's just good. Getting savory.
It's savory.
Like grilled fruit.
It's getting more savory, but like kind of smoky, but like very faint. It's not like a peated smokiness at all.
Right, yeah. I mean, peated is its own thing, and it is much more heavy-handed than this.
Yeah,
this
it's
is like yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
I wouldn't say somebody who loves bourbon and has tried Scotch before would want to dive right into this barrel, or rye for that matter. But if you've tried Scotch and you like it before, this thing right here was really good right up front, but then a couple drops of water has really rounded it out.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
And made it more, in some ways, more balanced and a little bit more delicate, but not the delicate way you would think with a low proof Scotch. Like this is, the ABV is
Not
still going to
watered
be up
down
there.
delicate, even though we added
Yeah.
water to it. It was just delicate as far as not as punchy.
Right, and the concentration of flavor is still there.
Yeah.
Wow, this thing is good. So, do you mind handing me that bottle? Because they do put tasting notes on there that we did not look at prior.
I didn't know that.
So, this is, they say the tasting notes are gorgeous, silky, and richly textural Highland malt with a distinctive and gloopy old school twang about it. So,
Gloopy.
gloopy. That's an awesome word, gloopy.
I dig it.
Bring that one back. Gorgeous, silky, and richly textural. Spot on. And it says waxes, fruits, and wood spices.
Oh.
Hey, sounds like we weren't too far off.
We weren't too far off.
So,
We're professionals.
yeah. Wow. I am very impressed with this bottle.
Same.
Would you be happy having a bottle of this around?
I would, yeah. I like this. This is nice. I liked it with and without water.
Yeah, this is a thumbs up for me for sure. I might even, with water, I might even go 2 thumbs up.
Oh.
As like a special bottle to have around.
Okay.
We're not super well versed in scotches, but we have had a variety of scotches ranging from young all the way up to like the low 20-ish year range. And I think what this is bringing to the equation that I'm not really used to is the proof being higher with the scotch. Like Ardbeg Oakdale is kind of our gold standard for peated scotch.
Yeah.
But outside of Oakdale, I haven't really ran into a lot of other scotches that are high proof that I really like a lot. And this one just totally changed my mind on high proof scotch. Inevitably makes me very excited about trying more Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. Like Aaron said, we'll have the details in the video description below. That's a really hard sentence for me to get out right now.
It's okay.
But we'll have those down there about the gathering, about Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. Check them out.
Yeah.
We're really glad we did. Hope you enjoyed this one, and hope you enjoy the upcoming Wildcard Wednesday content as we get into way more international whiskeys and beyond.
That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching.
Be good to each other, and until next time,
Cheers.